The icy and pure waters of Canada's North Atlantic Ocean. This is where you'll find the best lobster in the world. This is where independent fishermen from across Atlantic Canada rise with the sun to tend to their traps along our region's rugged coastlines.
I've been fishing lobster for about 25 years now, but around the water for, I guess, most of my working life. I enjoy it. We have a 2-month season here in May and June, and it's the best 2 months of my year.
Atlantic Canada's lobster fishery is carefully structured and managed to bring the highest quality lobster to market year-round. Our waters are divided into areas, each with its own season. Typically, the lobster season in Atlantic Canada peaks in the spring and late fall, but at least one district is always open, so there is a secure year-round supply of top-quality lobster.
In our spring season, we fish May and June here on the eastern end of PEI, and the north shore of PEI has some of the coldest water, and the lobsters are hard-shelled and fully meated and just coming out of dormancy, and they're probably some of the best lobster in the world, for sure.
Atlantic lobster has an unmatched sweet flavor and delectable texture. Our wild crustacean is available in a variety of ways. Live whole lobsters, frozen whole cooked lobsters, frozen raw tails, frozen cooked tails, claws, and canned meat.
We've been working at this a long time, and there's been a lot of great conservation methods put in place, whether it's trap limits or escape mechanisms, increased carapace sizes, buffer zones. We have one of the most sustainable fisheries on the globe.
Each lobster is pulled from the trap by hand, inspected and measured. Female lobsters bearing eggs, as well as small lobsters, are released to ensure the sustainability of this incredible natural resource. Atlantic Canada's lobster fishery is involved with a third-party environmental certification program. Our region is a world leader in its ability to identify and track all stages of the harvesting, production, processing, and distribution of its lobster. Back on shore, the fishermen unload their catches directly into waiting refrigeration trucks or into processing facilities. Lobsters that are to be sold live are sent to tidal pounds and inland seawater holding tanks that mimic the natural environment. New technology allows processors to quick freeze whole cooked lobsters and process lobster meat. The short time between harvesting and processing ensures that the lobster tastes as fresh as the day it was caught. You want to make sure that the lobster is nice and fresh. Like you can see, this guy is very lively and ready to go. The lobster, when they're green, are live lobsters. You can also buy lobsters that are pre-cooked for you if that's the way you prefer to manage it. But lobsters come in different sizes. They come from 1.25 pounds and up. The lobster shelf life out of water is approximately 30 to 40 hours. So when you do receive it, most of them will have ice packs on them. They'll be laying dormant and ready to go. So it's important that you don't leave them on your dock. You bring them directly to your walk-in cooler to keep them nice and fresh. So at this point, we are ready to cook our lobster. I have a pot of water right now that has approximately 1/4 of the water on the bottom of the pot. What I need to do to that water is increase the salt level so that when the lobster gets cooked, it's cooked with the same salt flavor that you would have when you go in the ocean. So it's approximately 1 cup of salt to a gallon of water. So all we do is you take the lobster, you lift them up, and you crisscross its claws. You basically just pull on both sides of the lobster, and as you can see, the lobster cannot get us with any one of their claws. So it's important that you act pretty quick. So there you go. All you do then is submerge the lobster head first into the pot, and that's it. Right away, as soon as the brain of the lobster hits the pot, the lobster will die. So a perfect cook for a lobster, depending on the type of restaurant you have, a lobster of this size that was about 1.5 pounds will take approximately 10 to 12 minutes to cook at the start of boiling or steaming. So in this case, we would wait for the steam to come as a roar, and from there, that's when we'll start timing our 10 to 12 minutes. So one other way of being able to tell the difference whether your lobster is cooked or not, and there's always that chance that you say, well, is it ready, is it not ready, and you end up cooking it a little longer. But one sure thing to do to prevent that is to just take the lobster, pull it by its tentacle, give it a little tug like this. If it falls off, that means the lobster is cooked. You want to make sure you stop the cooking process as fast as possible once it's cooked. So a perfect method for that is to create an ice bath. We basically do a half water, half ice bath. So we have right now some water in there. I'll open a bag of ice and pour it in. There we go. So this way, when my lobsters are cooked, I'll be able to cool them down right away in the ice bath and stop the cooking process. And you'll leave them in the ice bath for approximately 3 to 4 minutes, just so that they come nice and cold to the feel and touch. You'll get approximately, out of a 1.5 pound lobster, 1 1/3 or 1 1/4 of meat actually out of the whole lobster. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of sizes that you may want for whatever recipe that you're doing. But at this point, as you can see, the lobster is still steaming a little bit, but it slowly is icing itself down, and it creates a much better quality lobster in the end. So the next step is to take the lobster and store it in the refrigerator until you are ready for service. It's very important at this point that when you're taking the lobster out of the ice bath, that you put the lobster on your platter upside down. You want to put it on its back so the juices, all the natural juices, stay inside the lobster. So at this point, I'm going to remove the meat out of the lobster, show you how to get the ins and outs of it. We're going to do the claws and knuckles, and we're going to show you how to get the tail out. I just tear the tail and remove the claws, and you end up with all of the 4 units. The easiest way to get the tail out is to put it in the palm of your hand and actually crack it or smash it if you want. Turn it upside down and peel it, just like this. Once you've peeled it, you could remove the entire tail by itself, just like that. At which point then you want to take the back of the lobster, and you'll see that this is a beautiful female lobster. It's got all the roe still attached, so you can remove the roe. You could use the roe into your recipe if you so choose. And what I'm trying to do now is to take the vein out so that the lobster is totally deveined, and all you have to do is push it back like this, and it's ready for a plate presentation. And because I want to save the roe to use in a chowder or to enhance a sauce, I'm going to remove the vein from it and place it on the side. Then I have the claws. To remove the meat is pretty simple. All you have to do is take the claw and take a trusty knife and just apply a little pressure. Just do a little incision on the knuckle, 1, 2, and then 3, and then take your knife and turn it sideways like so, so that the entire claw comes apart. Then you remove the finger, jiggle it a little bit, break it left to right, and then you pull it backwards like such, and turn your claw upside down and push the meat right through the claw, just like that. And you end up with a perfect claw. So you end up with both parts, so beautiful from a presentation perspective, on your table. And then you take those knuckles that you broke apart, and you take your finger and you push the meat through, and each piece of meat will come out of the knuckle. At this point, I'd like to prepare a nice quick recipe for you, something that's kind of unique for your restaurant. Lobster is an added value product. It's something that you could enhance any recipe with, and it marries perfectly with anything. So it's great to be able to take a menu item at a certain level and bring it up a notch. So what I'm going to prepare is a sexy lobster. Here in Atlantic Canada, we eat lobsters cold, dipped in hot butter, and we always accompany it with a beautiful potato salad. So I said, what a great combination to do the both. So I'm going to put together a little potato salad with lobster. I pre-poached some potatoes. I'm going to add some to that, add a little dill for some zing into the potato salad. I'll throw in a little bit of shallots, some pepper for color. Doesn't matter the color, whatever you have in hand. So in this case, I'm using an orange pepper. And lobster salad always has a little bit of crunch, so it's got to have that celery that's inside. I'll throw in some sea salt, flavor, about half a teaspoon, and a few mil of the pepper. From there, I'm going to take some mayonnaise. Not too heavy on the mayonnaise, because you want your lobster to be the star. So in this case, I put 2 heaping tablespoons to approximately 3 potatoes. I'm going to gently do a mixture of that so it's light. And this way, when I chop my lobster and put it in, you'll still have that beautiful red pigment that's on the lobster meat. Then the only 2 ingredients left to go in the potato salad is to chop up a few fresh chives, to add some of the color, and of course chives we use on a regular basis with lobster. It's a perfect marriage together. So a few little onions, and I'll leave the tails that I have here to be able to garnish my plate. So a little bit of that, a little sprinkle, and of course the star is this beautiful lobster. So I'll put a lobster tail, and I'll put a few claws in as well. And I want to chop it so my consumer or my guest can see the lobster inside. So I'm going to chop it in fairly good sized chunks. Like this. There we go. And I'm going to do the same with the 2 claws and toss it right on top of my bowl. Like so. And then I'm just going to toss it. So you still see that nice red color. Because I'd like to do a nice plate presentation for this sexy lobster, I'm going to use a beautiful tail and place it in some melting butter. Just basically want to warm it up. So while my lobster is poaching, I'm going to start preparing my plate. And you could do this as fancy as you want it or as simple as you want it. But in this case, I'm going to do à la bonne franquette, just a little bit of potato salad, just so I have a base, so it looks presentable and pretty, just like that. So you got that nice flavor of the potato salad. I'm going to take a little bit of sea salt and put it on top to give you that crunch, and some pepper. From there, I'm going to take that lobster tail that I have and strategically place it at the base of the potato salad like such. And I'll take the claw and stand it right up on top like this. And then I'll get a little closer, place it so it's actually standing up. From there, I'll take a few of the chive leaves that I had and place it on top. And voila, that's it. So you get a sexy lobster prepared in a maritime way in Atlantic Canada. We love our lobster cold, dipped in hot butter with a beautiful potato salad. But we would roll up our sleeve on a picnic table with newspaper, but you could serve it a little fancier in your restaurant. Enjoy. Consumers want to eat food that tastes good and is good for them and doesn't harm the environment getting to the table. Nothing fits the bill better than Atlantic Canada lobster. It's the star of any meal. Make it part of your menu.